We've all seen our favorite pros pulling off insane mechanics and highlight reel plays in solo queue. However, what most of us often end up doing instead is losing track of the enemy jungler, getting chain CC at the worst times, and watching every lead we build slip away. Why does this happen? Well, what if I told you the real difference between pros and the rest of the player base comes down to subtle, almost invisible decisions. They're not flashy, but they're small game-changing habits that turn close matches into decisive victories. And here's the thing, you can use these techniques too. Hey everyone, my name is Xpecial, a former pro and coach with over a decade of experience. And in this video, we're breaking down 4 subtle things pros do in solo queue that most players don't even notice. From tracking the enemy jungler like a shadow, to abusing the fog of war in ways you've never imagined, these are some of the tricks you can start using today to improve your odds of winning. Stick around, because I'll not only break these techniques down, but also show you how to implement them to see game-changing results in your solo queue climb. Alright, let's jump into the first subtle technique pros rely on, jungle tracking. You know the feeling. You're winning your early lane, you've chunked your opponent, and you're about to dive them for a free kill when the enemy jungler suddenly shows up and shuts you down. It really sucks. But if you watch a lot of streams, you'll probably know that pros rarely have it happen to them. How do they achieve that? Well, to give you a great example, let's see how IG Rookie, a world champion, handles this situation. In this clip, Rookie is on Ahri, facing an enemy Elise, a champion notorious for punishing any early misstep with a swift gank. If Rookie ignores her threat, he could be bullied out of lane or even killed outright before he has a chance to scale. However, watch how he confidently pressures the lane regardless. It's all thanks to a single level 1 ward. By placing this ward early, Rookie gains vision on the most likely path Elise would take, letting him see if she's about to ambush from the river or the side bush. This ward acts as an early warning system, giving him enough time to back off or turn the tables on Elise if he tries anything sneaky. That small investment in vision lets him play aggressively, rack up CS, and maintain constant lane control instead of living in fear of a sudden cocoon flying his way. In many matches, a well-placed ward at level 1 reveals exactly where the enemy jungler starts. From that single piece of information, you can figure out their likely path. For example, if you see him taking red buff first on a champion known for early ganks, like Elise or Lee Sin, you can expect him to finish a couple of nearby camps and possibly gank around the 2:30 to 3 minute mark. On the other hand, if it's a jungler who prefers a full clear, like Nocturne or Karthus, spawning them at blue buff tells you they'll probably farm longer before showing up in the lane. That knowledge helps you decide whether to ward aggressively, play safe, or even call for an early counter gank. In other words, you're not just guessing. You're using the champion's typical strengths and the position of their start to predict the next few minutes. But what if nobody can place that early ward? Maybe your team's level 1 is weak, or you didn't get a chance. This is where pros, like current world champion Zeus, uses another strategy, timing their own junglers clear. In this clip, Zeus is on Kennen, taking an early winning trade to push Aurelia in. At around the 2 minute mark, he notices Viego finishing Krugs. Since Lee Sin is known for early aggression, Zeus infers that Lee Sin started on the opposite side and could be heading top soon. Most junglers finish camps in roughly the same order at a similar pace. So, if your jungler is completing their second or third camp, there's a good chance the enemy is doing the same. This gives you a rough mental timer for when to expect the gank. Knowing this, Zeus backs off to place a ward at the right time and holds his E instead of mindlessly trading with Aurelia. He continues to hold his E, staying cautious until Lee Sin finally appears on the bot side. The moment he spots Lee Sin there, Zeus switches gears, using his E aggressively to push Aurelia, knowing it's now safe to push his advantage. It's a small decision that might not look flashy, but it prevents a disaster and immediately creates a window of opportunity once he knows exactly where the enemy jungler is. By tracking the enemy jungler, whether due early wards or by matching clear speeds, pros avoid surprise ganks and immediately capitalize when the coast is clear. Knowing the enemy jungler's path is a great start, but that alone won't carry you through the late game, especially once map rotations and teamfights become the norm. This is where strategic ward placement becomes crucial. It helps you spot flanks, anticipate enemy movements, and respond faster when objectives are on the line. So how do pros like T1's Keria manage this? They don't just drop wards in obvious brushes. Instead, they position them in off-angle locations that stay hidden longer and collect valuable intel the enemy never sees coming. Check out the minimap. These are some of the highest traffic bushes that enemy supports and junglers frequently sweep, especially if they keep seeing you place your wards there. In this first clip, you'll see Keria walking by one of these commonly swept brushes, except you'll notice that Keria avoids warding inside it. Instead, he places his ward just outside the usual line, slightly behind a wall, so it's not in the direct path of an Oracle's Lens or Control Ward. This clever positioning still reveals anyone moving through that corridor while also creating potential flank angles for his teammates and providing broader map coverage from afar. Keria applies a similar tactic in other games. Rather than dropping the ward directly in a standard bush, he positions it just above the usual line, once again hiding it from a nearby Control Ward. Even if the enemy notices the placement, the slight offset is typically outside their immediate sweep range, allowing his team to gain critical intel on upcoming rotations. Another interesting approach Carrier uses comes into play when he's far ahead in his lane. He'll place a deep ward to prevent lane ganks and track whether the enemy jungler is hovering around bot. This extra vision tells his team if they can push safely or if they need to back off, effectively turning Carrier's early lead into sustained map pressure. In another match, the same principle applies once they're pushing for tier 2. Carrier drops a deep ward between the bot lane turrets and the jungle entrance, well away from typical control ward or oracle lens spots. Since it's off the beaten path, it's less likely to be swept, giving his team extended vision on enemy movements, including potential flanks. Good vision control around the map can make or break a fight. Each ward Carrier places has a specific purpose: to stay unnoticed just long enough to spot enemy rotations, secure leads, and keep his team one step ahead. Additionally, these hidden wards can double as flank points, allowing allies to set up game-changing engages or secure critical objectives with minimal risk. That difference alone can swing a crucial teamfight in their favor. But before I continue by talking about buffering skills and abusing the fog of war, I'd like to quickly remind you that if you're trying to implement these tips or are serious about improving at League of Legends and want some additional help, my team of challengers, LCS coaches, and I assist people like you in gaining 400 LP in just 6 weeks guaranteed inside the Masters Roadmap program. You'll get over 30 hours of personalized coaching with hands-on drills, scrims, and one-on-ones to ensure you learn everything you need to hit Masters Plus. So if you're serious about putting in the work to see results, message me the word WAVES on Discord using the link in the description below to book a free call with me and find out if we'll be a good fit. Now, let's discuss another subtle tip pros rely on when dodging isn't an option: buffering your abilities. No matter how well you track your jungler or place your wards, sometimes you'll get chain CC'd or cornered with no clear escape. This is where buffering turns a potentially fatal situation into a moment you can survive or even exploit. For instance, consider Gen G's current bot laner, Ruler. In this clip, he sees Ahri's charm coming, so he preemptively casts his Q while activating barrier. By the time a charm connects, he's already mid-action, which drastically lowers her follow-up damage. That minor timing difference can be the line between escaping with a sliver of health or getting instantly blown up. A similar principle applies to Ezreal when he faces Nautilus or Blitzcrank hooks. The moment the hook lands, Ezreal blinks away with his E, Arcane Shift, effectively negating the CC. It's a lifesaver in mid to late game teamfights, where a single hook can change the outcome entirely. This also works on champions that buffer blinks or dashes, such as Jarvan's EQ combo or Tristana's W. As a final example, I want to show you a clip from LNG's Gala, who faces a Thresh hook he can't dodge in time. Right before it connects, however, he fires off Jinx's W. Even though Thresh catches him, his W still goes through, turning what seemed to be like a guaranteed pick for the enemy into a near even trade, or sometimes even a kill for Gala's team. He may have died in this instance, but it demonstrates how small decisions can affect a fight and sometimes determine whether you lose or win a critical team fight. It's not always about perfectly dodging everything, because sometimes you just can't. Buffering a crucial ability at the last second can drastically reduce or completely nullify the enemy's advantage. Pros do this almost instinctively, because at higher levels, every fraction of a second can decide who wins the fight. Finally, let's talk about one of the most overlooked secrets in pro play: fog of war abuse. We all know controlling vision is key, but pros take it further by using the fog to play mind games with opponents. A perfect example comes from Gen G's Chovy. In this clip, he pushes the wave and immediately disappears into the fog. Notice how the enemy mid laner has to decide: do I follow blindly? Do I push? Do I ward? All that hesitation creates a massive advantage in map pressure, forcing mistakes and giving Chovy's team greater control of the game. This does two major things. First, it forces the enemy mid laner to guess: did they roam bot? Are they invading my jungler? Are they prepping a top dive? Second, it relieves pressure on your own side. Even if you're not actually roaming, the threat of the roam alone can make enemies play safe or waste time warding defensively. You can even deny wards this way. Another great example is a World's Highlight, where Zeus uses the Fog of War to make a sneaky escape by flashing over the Krugs. Instead of a big highlight reel kill, it becomes a quiet "wait, where did he go?" moment that leaves the enemy team baffled. That split-second decision keeps him alive, and you'd be surprised how a single survival like that can influence the game. It's not just about staying hidden, it's about creating the illusion of presence. Sometimes, the scariest thing is not knowing where the enemy is, and pros exploit that fear to control the game. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.